Hey, it's Sammy for another episode of the I Do Music podcast, and our goal and our mission is to empower and educate musicians and artists worldwide. And on today's episode, we're talking to CEO of Global Vision Talent Agency, Johnnie Cabbell, discussing making money on the road, merchandising, and booking shows. This particular podcast stems from our monthly weekend workshop, so if you're ever interested in attending, please visit our website at patchwerk.com. So, what we're here for this morning, making money on the road. How many people want to make money in general? How many of you are artists and you want to make money while you travel? I'm not an artist, but we can make that happen too. Okay, so today we're going to focus on making money on the road. How does one go about generating money in other cities? Doing what you love, which is music. What exactly does a booking agent do to assist the musician in increasing your shows? How does having merchandise tie into gaining popularity on a national scale? Today, we have an industry vet who is going to explain how to better your business on the road. Without further ado, I want to introduce the CEO of Global Vision Talent Agency, Johnnie Cabbell.
Good morning, everybody.
Thank you for taking the time out to talk to us today, Johnnie.
No problem.
So, first off, Global Vision
Talent. You gotta say Global Vision because there's another company out here called Global Talent that's doing a lot of bad business. So
Global Vision,
Global Vision.
Yes, so Global Vision Talent Agency is the name of your company, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. But before we get into, because you've been in the business for a while and you've been in had different ventures throughout, just touring, booking, managing artists. But you actually started off as an R&B singer.
Yeah, you've been doing your homework. Yeah. Yeah.
You started off in an R&B group.
Yes.
So how did you take a step back and kind of fall behind the scenes when you were pursuing music originally?
Well, actually, I had a good friend of mine that had pulled me to the side. We was on the road doing a lot of touring, and at that time, kind of just thought that that's when Versace was out, and we had the little Versace shirts, and we thought just because we had the Versace, that was the life, and in 5-star hotels, and we had the girls and all that, so. We had money, but we didn't understand the business. I clearly did not know anything about publishing. I didn't know nothing about mechanical royalties and none of that stuff. I just thought we just supposed to get on the stage, sing, do what we do, and just go on to the next state. But we found out that the CEO of the label that we were signed to, he had 100% of our publishing. We wouldn't get no royalties, none of that, and then our contract was just so jacked up. So I had my one of my people had pulled me. He said, "You seem like you the smart one of the group, but I wasn't too smart because we ain't know." But it's just crazy because when you don't know, you just be so green. Like I had never even heard of the word publishing and all that at the time. We were just thinking about having fun, but when I started reading and all this information started coming open and develop, I'm like, because I'm thinking the artists we get our money first. I didn't know it go through so many hands before it even reached the artist.
Right.
So I'm like, man. And so once I started, getting information and obtaining it, and I had my partner, he would just put me on a lot of games. I'm like, I think I'm on the wrong side of the chair. So I figured I'd step back, and I just had found my niche. And I said I wanted to get into management and, help people to not go through what I was going through. And then at the time when I was coming up, I was on TV. I mean, looking at TV, just what TLC went through, what Tony Braxton went through. And I'm like, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I just fell back and said I wanted to do something different and let people know. I said I want to be the one that, let people know the business, that this is what you need to be looking out for. This is what you need to be up on.
And that's great. And you actually, you started off managing.
Yeah, I started off managing, and then I was booking and didn't know I was booking because I just knew everybody for being on the road, and I was just that people person. So people used to always ask me like, John, can I get such and such number? And I needed which kind of come do this show for me. And once again, I was so green. I did not know that I was actually, you know what I'm saying, acting as a booking agent and helping them. And I had somebody pull my coattail again and say, man, you know, you could get like $500 for doing that.
Right.
I'm like, man, I can't get no money for just giving somebody a phone numbers and all that. So he like, man, I'm telling you, like people that be calling you, like they can't reach these artists. So you like the link, you can make money. That's a business. That's what you call a booking agent. I like a booking agent. I went back to start reading again, and I'm like, yo. And man, when I found that out, it's crazy because it's like my little testimony story. This lady who I was dealing with named Keisha down in Savannah, she also got a couple of businesses up here and stuff. And she told me, she used to always call me, and she had called me this one day. I said, I don't mind. I think I was booking Pastor Troy or Master P or one of them. I said, I don't mind doing it for you, but I'm gonna need at least $500. She just bust out laughing. It was like she like, man, somebody done woke him up.
Right.
And then when I seen that it actually worked, I got my company. I went and got my company started, got my business license. I'm talking about I did everything, got an escrow account, all of that. And I became a booking agent. And next thing I know, it just started going crazy from there.
Wow. So you are you moved here to Atlanta when you were younger.
Yeah.
But you came up at a time where there was so much, like Atlanta was just moving, so many different artists. You were working with the likes of Waka to Gucci to D4L at the time, Crime Mob.
My first group, Crime Mob, D4L, Gucci, Waka, Nicki Minaj, OJ.
So
Shop Boys,
your first group managing was Crime Mob though.
No, that's not my first group that I managed. Crime Mob is actually my first group that brought me into the business as far as dealing with a major label. But I had a couple of groups before then, like, you know, this group called 1010, Matt Breezy, Trap Squad, Ben Hill Squad, a couple of groups that was underground, but Crime Mob was my official group that really put me in the game and opened the doors up for me.
So what sorts of things were you doing or acting as their manager? What sorts of things were you responsible for handling?
Well, with Crime Mob, I was booking them before I actually started managing them. And then the manager they was with right before me, before they actually had got their deal, you know, he was doing some crazy stuff. And then the parents, they said they thought that I would be the perfect candidate. The man, since I was the one making them their money and stuff. So I said, me? All right. You know, and I had an opportunity to either take Scrappy or Crime Mob, but I took on the Crime Mob. And I wore all the hats. I was the security. I was the manager. I was the DJ. I was the booking agent. I was everything.
You just did it all.
Yeah, did it all.
So artists make a lot of money on the road. That's why we're here talking about it today, because we're interested. What's required of you as the booking agent? I know we talked earlier about preparation and knowing like the demographic, your target audience as an artist. But for you as the booking agent, what are you looking to do before hitting the road?
I mean, being a booking agent, a lot of people, it's so different now because you got so many people using the term booking agent loosely, and they really just be hustling. But a real booking agent has his stuff, that he has a real office or a work at home office, has his tax ID, his business license, and all of that. But you have to know like who you dealing with. You want to make sure that you're dealing with a good promoter that's going to make sure that they paying the artists on the back end when they get there. You want to make sure that they having the preparation of a good show. Sometimes people just book shows. You have a lot of people that's just out here in the street that just looking to flip money. You know, it's a difference between somebody who's trying to flip money versus a real promoter that knows what he's doing and really taking the time to put the right promotion into the show, the preparation of the show and everything. So you just have to know what to look out for and what to pay attention to. you know.
So also, I know that you book not only shows or like actual concerts, but
I do
appearances
tours,
too.
all of that, appearances,
Yeah.
everything.
So what other things? We talked a little bit about it before, but like you're booking the shows. Most people think like a booking agent, you're just kind of primarily focused on that tour, but there are other things that you can do, like meet and greets.
Exactly, like just knowing how to take advantage when you get in the city, and that comes from having a good manager, a good role manager, and just knowing what things you can do to maximize. You know, what I'm saying the time that you're there, like merchandising is real big. Setting up a meet and greet in this city because a lot of the artists have real loyal fans. Like I have an artist by the name of Cash Doll that I deal with, and the females they go crazy
I
over.
love Cash
We
Doll.
we go to, every time we go to the city, we trying to set up a meet and greet, and we make like 3 to 4 thousand, sometimes 5,000 just doing a meet and greet because we might it might be like 100, 200 people that's trying to meet her, and they gonna pay that $25, $30,
Right.
even 50. You know what I'm saying, to be able to get up close, take a picture, and just be in the atmosphere of that artist. So that's a good way to take advantage when you're in the city.
I was also going to ask, how do you determine ticket sales? You mentioned like ranging from $20 to $50 for a meet and greet. Is that something that you're required to handle as the booking agent or manager for the artist?
Well, for me, I kind of do it all, but normally the manager or that artist will set the price on what they want the tickets to be. Cause I book K Michelle a lot, and I know for her meet and greet, she charge $100 a person. She making 10,000 every time she doing a meet and greet.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
That's serious money.
yeah.
That's not even the show though.
That ain't even the show. And then you have like something that's real important that we haven't really been big on, and that's merchandising. And
Right.
you can make a lot of money doing that.
Artists like Kanye made him make millions off of just merchandising
Yeah.
alone. How do you think merchandise can even evolve the artist's brand too? Because now like people wear Saint Pablo merch like in regular day-to-day clothing. How do you think it can evolve the brand, and how important is it to have at your show?
It's very important, and it also helps build the brand even more because the more people you see out with something that's connected to that artist, it what I'm saying, attracts more fans, and it build more clientele, more customers. And it's very important to have at the show because once again, not only are you getting paid for that show, this is another outlet. You got to think about it. If you get, let's just say, I'm just thinking of a number off the top of my head, but if you get 10,000 for a show, you come in, do a meet and greet, you make another, let's just say 2,500, and then you do another 2,500 just on merchandise, and I'm just saying numbers off the top of my head. It could be more, it could be less, but that's an extra 5,000 that you ain't made on top of the money that you ain't already got paid.
Right.
And if you're doing that 3-4 times a week, that add up. That's like 20,000 a week just off of extra money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's dope. I think also in terms of what type of team roles, such as a tour manager, should an artist have lined up for touring in general? Like, are there other people in place that will be handling like somebody over merch, somebody over this?
It's
What
very
other
important
things?
to have your structure. Like structure is real important. Like it takes having a good role manager that knows how to move that artist through the city when he get there. Cause another thing which we haven't mentioned yet, but a lot of people be looking to get features
Right.
from artists when they're in the city. So if you don't know that or know how to, put that out, as far as like, hey, when you can get on your Twitter, your IG, when the city looking for feature, hit me up, then you gonna miss out. You know what I'm saying? And you have a lot of the independents that be dying just to get, a feature or a song with the artist when they come in the city.
Right.
So that's another way to make money. But just having a good role manager. Also, if you're doing a concert, you gotta have a good tour manager to know how to make sure you getting the your sound check, making sure that the music is right, making sure that the venue, everything is on point for even as far as, the dressing room, how you gonna exit, enter, everything. You know what I'm saying? Tickets, that's allowed it for people that's gonna be there or coming in. Everything plays a part.
So my question is, when you're actually in the midst of a tour, it let me back up actually, because I have like a million things in my head. There, when you were on tour as the booking agent, or even the man, I mean, you just do so many different things, so it's hard to ask you like one specific question. But as the artist, are you? I guess I don't know how to phrase this question. We'll move. I'll come back to it. Why do you think first it's important as an artist to have like a quality record? That's like we preach a lot here about at Patchwerk about mixing and mastering your record, getting it recorded in a good spot. Why is it important to first have like a quality record or project before you even focus on going out on tour?
Oh, you definitely got it, because that's what the people gonna be listening to, and also that's what's gonna help create that buzz, that demand that you're gonna want out here in the field, because you don't want to just have your music sounding reckless or not sounding quality or anything, and then people they be like, I can hardly hear what he's saying or whatever. But the more quality you have and the more professional that record is, the better chances you have as far as people, you know what I'm saying, catching on to it and then doing what they need to do for you out here in the clubs and the streets. And especially if you thinking about touring, your music gotta be on point, because you're playing it to thousands of people.
Okay, so most of us, I don't know if anybody's attached to a label in here or signed just yet, but a lot of artists are independent in general. As an independent artist, what are like, is that a primary focus to even start touring? Like, what do you think you should be focused on as an artist, as an independent artist first, before going into this tours and booking shows? Should they reach out to someone like you in terms of an agent to book their shows, or kind of just start off local, doing showcases and things of that
As
nature?
it's different levels. I definitely feel like as an independent artist, when you first coming up, you want to make sure you got your city, your backyard first. Once you see that, you know, you building up that fan base and people is taking on to your music, and now hold on, let me go back a little. You you definitely want to get your backyard, but now, speaking in today's time, you want to look at social media and make sure that
Right.
you building up a good social media fan base. And a lot of people don't understand that, and they wonder why you have some people that get paid just off of being off of IG or whatever. But if you got a strong fan base and you have a strong fan base in the city, you don't really need radio. You don't need, like, another prime example, my client 21 Savage, when they came to me as far as working with me, that's a good question, because this is the perfect example. I got 21 in the early stage. He was doing like 2,500 a show. Sometimes I think 3 was the biggest they had got at that time, but he had the internet going crazy, and I had never heard of him at first, but he had the internet going crazy, and also in the city he had a strong fan base, so they was ready to go to the next level. Cause people come to me when they ready to really, you know what I'm saying, start taking off and going to that next level. So once I got them, I started moving around. I started seeing how I was able to increase the money and increase the demand for them. So we started moving. Like, to make a long story short, I took him from 2,500, like he getting 50,000 a show now.
Wow.
So and that's been like within a year or whatever. And that's
But
like what I did with Nikki too. I had took Nikki from zero, and I took her from zero to $100,000.
That's crazy. How do you even get to the point of negotiating? That's what I was going to ask too. I mean, obviously, the demand for 21 Savage or Nicki Minaj grew over time, but like, how did you get to the point where you can negotiate?
It take a team. I'm gonna be honest with you. It does take a team. It take the artist doing what he needs to do, and when I say that, that means having the right type of music, producing the right type of, you know what I'm saying, tracks, and like you say, and like we all preach, you know what I'm saying, having good quality music from the production to the mixing to the mastering, all that, everything play a part, every little role that we might look over or say, this ain't important, but all that play a part.
Hmm.
But the manager doing what he needs to do, the artist doing what they need to do, and then the music doing what it need to do as far as coming from the production, and then me as an agent doing what I need to do. But all that comes together and it allows me to be able to negotiate and build that demand and build that buzz, because if the manager is doing the right thing as far as making sure the artist social media is on point, making sure he getting certain blogs, he getting certain visuals out there, the artist making good music, it give me the leverage and give me the power.
Yeah, and you're really actually really active on social media. I noticed
Oh yeah,
you're
yeah.
extremely active. And today, with the change in social media and technology, how do you think, or what are some of the methods you use in terms of like marketing tours and promoting shows for artists?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I hate social media to be honest, but
No one,
I
you
have to
have to
use
use
it
it.
because when the social media hit big, the way everybody started being on IG, Twitter, it really hurt the booking, because
Why is that?
now people are able to reach the artists direct. At first, it wasn't no numbers on these pages. It wasn't nobody you could go to. I mean, it was hard to find the art. That's why people went through booking agencies, because they was the ones that would connect either to the artist or to the manager or
Right.
whatever. I've been blessed because I just been living the best of both worlds. But when they start putting their numbers on IG, and I'm like, no,
Contact
no,
me.
no. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of hurt, but I just adapt to the situation, and just made it work for myself. But I definitely promote a lot, like, what I'm saying, putting flyers out, also letting people know what I'm doing, and each artist I go to. That's why now I go after the artist, because if I get the artist, then it's gonna come to me regardless.
What about in terms of like, I mean, on a positive side to social media, just learning where you should be. I see a lot of times like artists might post like, where should I go? Or should I, if you want me to come to your city, comment
Yeah,
below. Like
exactly. And
that.
and just the analytics as far as on that artist fan base, dealing with social media, because they'll break down and let you know where you hot at, where the most people listening to your music, and all that. So you'll know which areas you need to attack, which areas you need to try to promote in, or to try to get a booking or get some money in.
So we talked about you being the CEO of Global Vision Agency. Can you tell us a little bit more about the services that your company actually offers?
I'm more like a one-stop shop. I mean, we do management. We also do bookings. I do consulting. So if y'all want to get a nice consultant, y'all need to get with Patchwerk. You know what I'm saying? We got
Hit
the
them office
business hours, them
hours.
office hours, to really get down and deep into it. But we do consulting. We also do marketing and branding. And I do, I call it the chitlin circuit, where I put together promo tours for independent artists that are trying to get that exposure and to get out there. I put together like a little run for them
Like
through the
what
chitlin
does that
circuit.
entail?
It entails them going depending on which package they get,
There's
but
several packages. Okay.
but it entails them going into the city doing the show, and I like putting together the promo packages, because that's what helps really build the brand and put that artist in position to start making money, especially if they got good music, and they just need the direction on how to really get out there
Right.
and get people to hear them or see them. But also allows them to get the marketing and promotion, because they on the flyer, they on the any marketing tools that's being used as far as for that show. And also I have the DJ play their music before they come down there, so that the fans are familiar with who that person is.
Oh, so
And
you're sending their records to the
I
DJs
send
in
the
general?
record. I send their records before they even get down there,
Oh, that's
to
cool.
help build up the buzz. I also try to set up, depending on which market I have them in. I try to set up to where they could do like a interview with the DJ at the radio station, where they able to premiere their single or whatever. And I set up a meet and greet for them. So I actually, the difference between what I do and what a lot of these other people who be out here on the streets doing, I actually try to break the artists in that market so that they can start making money. So I let them feel like they're a star. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? If you're gonna do promo, you might as well feel like you got paid. If you're not getting paid, you want, because if the artists feel like they get paid, they feel better about themselves. They feel better about, you know what I'm saying, doing that show and going out there. So that's why I go to extra measures. Like when somebody get with my company or go or use some of my services, they actually getting the full effect of what a real artist go through when they coming into that market.
Hmm. And are these reasonable packages? Is this worth the
Yeah,
investment?
yeah. Hey,
I
you
know
gotta
y'all wanted to
believe in
know.
yourself. You gotta believe in yourself. But that's why I said it's different ones, because what I was just telling you is like the full extent of what I do to really try to help break that artist in different markets. The smaller ones would be just, you know what I'm saying, me setting it up to where you go in that city, they have you on the flyer, whatever. I still send the music, and then you just, you know what I'm saying, you doing your show, they, you know, having you a VIP set up, some guests that's able to come in with you and you do your show.
So you talked a lot about promoters in different markets and things like that. But I think my question is how, do you know these people? Is it more so about building the relationship or knowing people in the city? You could just say, hey, don't mess with this promoter. You might want to talk to so and so. Like, how did you develop those relationships over the years, and how important is it to know promoters in each city?
It's definitely good to build the relationships with the promoters. For myself, I mean, it took time for me doing what I do. I mean, I had already, like I said, I was an artist, so when I was on the road performing, I built so many relationships and knew so many people that it just started falling in place for me. But the how do I put the key to somebody that's trying to start off or somebody that's looking to do what I do, you want to build as many relationships as possible, and also know who's who and try to do some homework or background on them, because a lot of janky people out there. It's a lot of people that be scamming. It's a lot of people that that do the most.
This
But
morning on the news, they were talking about how Emery got scammed out of
yeah,
Migos show.
global talent. Yeah.
Oh, that was that.
Man,
that was
my
the business?
phone runs so much. Jock don't hit me up. They're like, "Yo, these people talk because it's so close." Because there's global talent, mine's is global vision, and I get this all the time because I have seen and heard them just scam so many people. And people call me back, man. I had somebody threaten me. I'm like, yo, I tell you where I'm at, because you can pull up now, but they have the name mixed up and name be wrong, and that's why you have to do your research and do your homework. A lot of people be so easy to give their money to certain people, but I'm doing my homework.
Yeah.
I'm not just finna just give my money just anybody or whatever. But yeah, they went through that, but they got it cleared up, and they knew that it wasn't my company, because I mean, Migos, they my people, so I book them all the time. I don't need to do no scam.
Right.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you too, in terms of, because you talking a lot about handling your business and just kind of staying on top of things, reading through these contracts. What are some things that you wish you would have known in terms of the business side and handling, even from when you were an artist to booking?
Oh man, I wish I would have knew the definitions of everything that I was doing. The definition of a manager, the definition of, you know what I'm saying, just the music business, period. Just knowing the different terms as far as what's entailed in the contract, as far as the publishing, as far as your copyrights, as far as your royalties, all of that. Like, that's why it pays to have a good lawyer. It pays to have a good mentor, someone that could, you know what I'm saying, help you get through these things. And it just read. We don't like to read, so if you just read, it's a lot of information that's out there, but we just got to pick up that book and read.
Right.
Because when I started reading, I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow. It was like a whole nother world opened up to me.
And I know this is a little off subject from touring, but just or making money on the road, but just you've worked with like I said before, a lot of influential artists in Atlanta's hip hop scene, especially Southern hip hop in general. And you saw their careers, or you helped their careers elevate from like working with the late Shawty Lo, with D4L to, you know, eventually elevating his career. What were some of the, or how do you think you helped in that process and ultimately elevating their careers?
Oh, I helped a lot.
What was your position or your role in that?
I mean, my position, it depends on which artist or group you're talking about.
Well,
but
specifically D4L, I'm
well,
more
D4L and Shorty Low. I mean, I managed D4L. I managed Shorty Low. I wore a lot of hats, you know what I'm saying, dealing with them, but you know, I help us get over that bridge. We in the Guinness Book of World Records.
right.
We sold millions and millions of ringtones. And that's another thing, like we didn't even understand ringtone. We sold like over 12 million ringtones, which is a lot of money or whatever.
And you're in the Guinness, or y'all are in the Guinness Book of World Records for Laffy Taffy.
Yeah. For
the most downloaded ringtones.
Yeah,
that's lit.
Yeah. But I mean, but it takes having somebody who know what they doing to be able to, you know what I'm saying, reach certain heights. Like if you don't have, if I wasn't a good manager or knew what I was doing, or a good agent, like we wouldn't made the money we made. We wouldn't have been the places we been because we wouldn't know how to get there.
Exactly.
We wouldn't know, you know what I'm saying, what steps to take, or, you know, how to put this in place so this can happen or whatever.
What are some assets or some key skills that you feel like you have that other managers or booking agents may not have to have given you that much success?
Oh, I'm on mine 24/7. See, a lot of people get too comfortable and get too lazy. Like, I answer my phone, which is a key thing. I answer my phone. I got great people skill, and I know how to talk to people. I know how to negotiate deals. Also, I'm a person that's gonna go that extra mile and go over the top with it to get done what I want done. And when I want to make something happen, I'm going to make it happen because I ain't stopping at nothing.
Right.
And that's why I feel like I've been successful and that I've reached the heights that I have reached. But one thing I will say is it's a good side and it's a bad side dealing and working with artists, because you have a lot of people that don't understand the word of loyalty. And that's what I respected a lot about D4L, and especially Shorty Low, RIP to my brother. But he was so loyal, like, cause you have people that try to get in your ear and try to tell you, man, he ain't doing everything he could do. I could do way more better than that, boy. You was over here, boy. You know, but no, he stayed loyal, and you know, we stayed consistent, and we never, you know what I'm saying, fell out to the point to where he said, you know what, I'm gonna go try something over here or whatever. I deal a lot. I mean, even with me being who I am and having the status that I have, I still go through things that I be like, huh? What? You know what I'm saying? Because I work with certain clients, and you get them to a certain point in their career and a certain point in their life. And, you know, I guess it's when you dealing with people that's not used to seeing money or having money, they don't know how to act when the fame comes. They don't know how to act when they really start making money. You know, when they making like over 100,000 a month, you know what I'm saying, just in shows. So people attitude change, they demeanor start changing up on you, and then they feel like, I don't need him no more. I could cut him out. I could save more money and do this myself. And they really be on this type of shit. You know what I'm saying? They be feeling like they forget about, this was the guy that helped me get to where I'm at now. Or this was the guy that put me in a position so that I was able to do this and do that. If it wasn't for this guy, you know what I'm saying, I wouldn't have these labels looking at me or trying to sign me. People forget so quick, so soon. But that's why, once again, it takes handling your business and knowing how to handle your business and making sure you have your paperwork together, making sure you do contracts, you know what I'm saying, with the artist. Because today, boy, I got to go back to like how it was old school. You got to put these niggas down on paper, because they'll jump ship in a minute.
Right.
They would jump ship in a minute.
Right. That's deep.
Yeah, they'll jump ship in a minute.
That's
They
deep.
will jump ship.
Give me some final do's or don'ts before we go into our next portion of tour life. Like, what are some like things that you just like, do not do this, even when it comes down, because we didn't really touch on like expenses when you're out on the road. You gotta pay for food and gas and.
Do not let anybody just sell you a dream. Number one, do not fall for the dream selling. Do not just let somebody say, you know what, come down here, we're going to just pay you. We're going to pay you. Time you get here, we're going to have that money for, no. Send me my deposit up front before I get on that road, so you don't want to do that. Also, just don't do business without having a contract, because a lot of the time, 9 times out of 10, it's going to come to bite you in the ass. When you don't have it, sometimes people, man, we ain't got to do no paperwork. I got, man, especially if it's your homeboy, them the best ones that'll get you, especially if it's your homeboy. You don't want to do nothing without paperwork, because that paperwork is what, keep that structure and let people know that, look, man, we got this on paper. You said you were going to do it. So you definitely want to have your paperwork. And don't go into signing any deals without having, like a lawyer look at it, or someone who really knows the business to give you advice. Give you advice on.
Yes. Well, wise words. I hope y'all were taking some notes there. Are there any questions that you all have for?
No, it got to be some questions
for Johnny.
No, it got to be some questions.
Yes. Okay.
What's up, big homie?
What's going on?
Chaos. I'm representing the slum now. You said about it's very important to have your team around you, and everybody know their role or whatever. But it kind of seemed like you doing everything. You know what I'm saying? So is that kind of you keeping your circle small because you done ran into some pitfalls already? It's like a comfort level, or is it just like you want something done?
I actually do have a team,
right?
But I do wear a lot of hats still. In my circle, it's hard for me to trust anybody because I ain't been fucked over so much and taken advantage of. But I do keep it small. I do keep my circle small. I'm gonna be honest with you, I do keep it small. But I do have a team though.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's probably because you done bumped your head a couple times, and
most definitely.
Yeah, and then the friend that really put you on game, how come they didn't put you on game beforehand?
I guess they didn't really know the extent of what I was doing, and it was a timing thing. But if I had a chance to do it all over again, I wouldn't change it because I'm glad I went through that.
Believe it.
You got to go through some bad times to be able to have some good ones.
Absolutely. Now I got one more question. I hate to eat the time up. But is it still important to have like a show track versus your song playing with all the vocals on it? Like, is that still important?
I don't like when they just be rapping. I like the show track. You know what I'm saying? The more you able to be a true entertainer and show, true entertainment, the better it is for you as an artist.
Believe it. Appreciate you.
How you doing?
All right.
Slim Goody. Question: when you are setting up these tours and these promo spots, how important is it, or do you even consider getting sponsorship for the artist? And what recommendations do you have about setting up sponsorships for artists?
Good question. That's another answer to let you know that's what I was saying. It's good to have a good manager or a good agent, whatever. Normally, that's the responsibility of either the label or the manager to get the sponsorships. But sometimes, just depending on who you're dealing with, I know me myself, depending on the extent of how deep I am in with the artist or the group or whatever, or even the label or what. So I do offer that, but it just depends on the level of business that I'm in with that person or whatever. But it's definitely important for independent artists. Yeah, it's still, that's their manager responsibility. You know what I'm saying, to do that. That's why people gotta know what they dealing with when they signing these people and putting them in position to do that. Because a good manager gonna think about that. He gonna be like, well, if I'm gonna get on this tour, do this, then let me see about getting this sponsorship. Or he gonna ask, hey, do you got any good sponsors that I might could reach out to or know how I could go about doing this or whatever. But you gotta, or if the artist doesn't have a manager, he should, think about them type of things. Therefore, that's where that education come in at.
Hi, Bruce Brown. I want to ask you, do you do book bands?
Man, I ain't booked bands. I didn't book gospel. I didn't book rock. I didn't book TV personality. I didn't book everything.
Okay. We're in the band situation, starting out at ground level. Do you have like a required time amount for sets to book a band? Like, like if you're gonna have a set for a show, is it a certain amount of time that they should?
I tell bands like because when you dealing with bands, you want to find like which market that band is in. Let's just say if we're in Atlanta, I always reach out to the different clubs that I know that does them type of shows or whatever, and I ask them what's the particular time that they allow the band. Some of them would say like an hour, or they might be like, we'll do 2 30-minute sets or whatever. So I just tell them how like a 30-minute set, an hour set, and then if it need to be more, they'll let us know. But at least a 30-minute set and an hour set.
Okay. Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
In that situation, is it better starting out to have all originals, or is it okay to use some cover tunes to break in?
As far as for bands, it's definitely good for cover tune, because that's what they mainly gonna be, wanting to hear and listen to. And you have to ease it in there. Like,
right.
I would play like maybe one during your set or whatever if you find it the right time to break it in.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, Johnny? This is Mr. Fat.
What's going on?
My question was, earlier you were saying something about mechanical royalties, and I want to ask, is it a difference between is it a difference between normal royalties and mechanical royalties?
Between which one?
Earlier when you were saying something about you didn't know about mechanical royalties, so is it a difference between like royalties and mechanical royalties, or is it like the same? That's what I'm asking.
It's a different, but it's somewhat the same, but it is different because you get a breakdown of where you got regular royalties that come in from your publishing. As far as from, let's just say if you put a song that's out there, you got the royalties that come in from the time it's been played, from TV and all that. But then you have your mechanical that come from other stuff besides that might not have, this might not attach as far as to the publishing part or whatever, just stuff that you get over a period of time.
I wanted to ask about trademarking. Like, I have a name that I want to go by for everything I do. I'm a songwriter, but I don't want to release it yet because I don't want it stolen. So should I have that fear, or should I just start pushing myself without the trademark?
I guess it depends on you, because if you don't push it, you ain't gonna get it out there. It's a chance you take. For me, I feel like long as you got it, you could do the poor man copyright or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Write it.
That?
When you mail it to yourself or whatever and keep it in the envelope, or you could just go on and register and get it done with either ASCAP or whatever, or BMI. Huh?
You talking about trademarking? I think, I would recommend, like, in your early stages, you don't necessarily have to focus, or from our past workshops, and a lot of instructors say you don't really have to focus on the trademark, but definitely the copyright, which is what he started going into, is most important.
Because the trademark be taking time anyway to come back and to get all that stuff done. But if you want to start pushing your stuff, just as long as you got your copyrights in place, you good.
All right, Slim Goody once again. When getting an independent artist out on the road and everything, and you said getting your backyard situated first. Like, Atlanta is such a major melting pot for talent all around.
Mm-hmm.
should an artist that is small and independent actually get started in a major city like Atlanta, or should they approach in the outskirts like the Macons, the Columbus, the Augustus?
And that's a good question. Now, when you from Atlanta, and by you being in the city that's as big as Atlanta, and there's so much competition and so much that's going on, sometimes it is good to hit the outskirts and then come back, you know what I'm saying, circle back to Atlanta. But for the most part, if you could get it, then I would definitely do it. And that's just mainly just, you know what I'm saying, hitting certain clubs, starting out with certain showcases that I know P. Brown, they'll be having a lot of just showcases that be going on, but certain ones be, you know what I'm saying, be good exposure, you know what I'm saying, to do or whatever. But that is a good question. You can go outside and do like the little mom and pop markets like the Macon and all that, and then just circle back up to Atlanta once you done built that up and everything. But you still definitely want to make sure that you got your hometown.
What if your hometown is not that big as far as in the music scene, and like you got to travel?
And that's another question.
2 hours on the plane all the way out there.
Yeah, because I get a lot of clients that come to me and they be like, man, it just ain't nothing up here. And what's the city?
Connecticut.
Yeah, Connecticut. You can say Connecticut. But man, ain't nothing up here. But they want to try to come down to Atlanta, and I try to tell. I tell the individual or the artist or group, it really depends on the type of sound that artist have, because that's a key part. If you have more of an East Coast sound, you still want to stay up in that area some, versus trying to come down to the South and put your music on somebody that they're not trying to hear that type of music or whatever.
Gotcha.
So you want to look at the market that you cater to.
So Zach, do they need to be on the radio before they can start making money on the road? These guys?
The way and that's a good question that you say that. Either it's two ways you start making money. One is having a strong fan base out here in the streets, and when I say a strong fan base, this is when you know you can start getting paid, and when you should start charging. When you go to a club and you got 50 to 100 people that's coming to see you and willing to pay to come see you, you know, and you in the club and you see that the club is packed out because you there or whatever, that's when you know you starting to build that buzz and it's time to start moving and taking it to another level. So it's either you got a strong fan base out here in the streets or dealing with the social media, or you do have a song that's on radio. But a lot of times from my position, the radio more so hurts you more so than having your music in the street, because you can have music on the radio and still know. Prime example. I got an artist by the name of Swift that I'm working with. He got that song Pull Up. Now this man got a record deal. He got a song on the radio and everything, but they don't even really be wanting to pay him. It's hard for him getting paid because he doesn't have a club record, number one, and then number two, he doesn't have a strong presence out here in the streets. So when I'm talking to promoters or talking to club owners that want to bring him or deal with him, they really be feeling like he should be coming for free, or they just want to pay him like $1,000, $1,500, and it kind of be irritating me because I'm not used to dealing with something that low, especially like when you got a record that's on radio and you with a label. Because when I had 21, I was getting them 16.5 before he even hit radio. He was getting damn near close to 20 before we hit radio. But I seen the difference. 21 had a strong social media presence. He had a strong presence in the street. Swift didn't have a strong social media presence, and he didn't have a strong presence in the street, but he had that hit record that's on the radio and everything. So that's why I tell a lot of artists that it's good building in the streets and building in these clubs, because that's what's going to get you paid. You know what I'm saying? Having a strong social media presence, having a strong presence out here in your streets and in your community and then around the surrounding areas that surround your city. That's what's important first. That's what gets you the money the quickest.
I'm working with this artist now, and we're trying to like start getting more shows and stuff like that, but we're trying to go a different route. So one of the routes that we're going is trying to see if we can hop on like when artists come to town, maybe like as an opener, because I heard that a lot of times they look for openers when they come to the cities and stuff. Is that a good idea? And what way would you go about it? Do you need to speak to the promoter? Do you need to reach out to the artist or the manager? Is that something that booking agent deals with? Or like, how does that work out?
I mean, several ways that could work out. I'm going to tell you how my personal opinion, how I feel about it. I don't per se like putting artists on the show with another big artist a lot. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if that artist is, if the independent artist that you're working with does not have a strong presence already and he just starting out, it can hurt him more than help him because he gonna get overlooked. And people, they paying their money to come see, let's just say Future. They only thing they worry about when Future here to say, they don't want to hear none of the other stuff. A song they ain't never heard of, a song that a person they never seen. They don't know nothing about this person. It could really hurt you because if they don't adapt or take to it, and they might even be a good artist, but they just in the wrong setting at the wrong time. They on a show that's too big for them or whatever. I like putting artists on shows that just have a well-established night, and it's more so about the artist versus who they opening up for or whatever. But it is times that it does help an artist opening up, but I think it's levels and stages to that. Your artist need to be at a certain level to where he's able to be on a card with a person like a Future or the Migos or whatever. But if he just starting out and you just get him in there, I would just more so try to get him on shows that's that's in a club or environment that already have a well-established night. But to answer your question as far as how you go about that, if you that person manager or whatever, I will always try to reach out to the promoter or the club owner, and then they'll just plug you into the right direction or who you'll need to talk to about that show.
So once again, thank you so much, and thank y'all for y'all questions. Those are really good questions. Let's give a round of applause for Johnnie Cabbell for coming out here.
Thank you.
And talking to us, sharing all of the knowledge that you have. But we'll always take a group photo after our workshop. But I did want to encourage you all. I know you two purchased, I guess, like the shirt with the ticket, so that was dope. You got a little discount. They got their I Do Music shirts.
That's what's up right there.
Yeah.
I do want to say one more thing.
Please.
One more thing that I want to leave y'all with that I think that's important.
Yes.
When you out here making money on the road, and you working with, whether you the artist or whether you working on the other side as far as that artist manager or whatever, you have to pay attention and ask yourself, am I in here for a quick buck or am I in here trying to establish a longevity and build that artist up to a star or whatever? A lot of these artists and a lot of these managers mess up when they don't think before they act. And what I mean by that is, and this is something that I deal with, that I see go on with a lot of the people that I work with. But I think that artists jump too quick to go to the bigger agencies like the CAA, ICM, and Live Nation and all that. And they out here, I feel like they damaging a lot of these artists' careers out here, snatching them up and feeding them these dreams and throwing this money in their face, to try to, persuade them in to get with them. Because when you hot and you got that hit, it's easy for anybody to book you. And I tell these artists all the time, they gonna book you anyway. You don't have to sell your soul, give up everything just because these people done threw all this money in your face, because you're gonna make more money over a period of time versus that short period of time of being with them, because they only gonna deal with you while you hot. They not gonna deal with you when you cold. They not gonna deal with you when you in between records, you in between singles. They not gonna be the one that's gonna start off with you in the mud and grinding with you in the beginning when you trying to get to that level. They only care about you when you hot and when you have that major song out there. Now, is being with a major agency bad? No, it's not, but it's levels. I think at the appropriate time, you'll know when it's time to deal with an agency, you know what I'm saying, at that level to bring them in. But you have to be careful when you doing that in the beginning, because I see a lot of artists, they'll get with the agencies and then it don't go like how they thought it was gonna go. And then all of a sudden they see themselves sitting on the sideline. They ain't burnt all these bridges with the promoters that was booking them before they got to them. And now they can't go back to them because they didn't shitted on them, or, you know what I'm saying, was charging them all out the ass, and they don't want to book them no more. Or the people that they were working with, you know what I'm saying, before then, they don't want to work with them no more because they're like, well, shit, you stunning on me, you know what I'm saying, for this. So I just think it's very important that we have to be mindful of the steps that we take before we take them.
Absolutely. Thank you, Johnnie Cabbell.
No problem.
Once more, I appreciate you for taking this time out and talking to us. I learned a lot. Y'all learned a lot? Awesome. We're still going to, like I said, take a group photo afterwards and then also...
Sonically superior.